to a Filthy Talk. Welcome for the first time. If it's your first time joining us, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. And this show is live every Friday from the Filthy Lot Studios. I'm your host, Trevor Gemma, and with me is Roz Young over on my right. Beside her partner, Matt Baker, who this is your first time returning since the very first episode of this, right?
It is.
Yeah, well, welcome back.
Thank you.
And to my left, the lovely Ash Turner.
What's up?
Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And I just want to say that the reason that so we're in a period of heightened restrictions has been imposed on Vancouver because our COVID cases have gone up. So Roz had the great idea of if we're still going to have 4 people on here without masks on, we could have our partners. So we live together, they live together. Spacing, it's great. And fact checker and chat liaison, we have Ryan Whyte.
Back again.
Yeah, and he's here to field your questions if you have any, or possibly stories. If you got some funny stuff to say about what we're talking about, feel free. Okay, so we're gonna start with, as always, what we're drinking. Matt.
I am drinking a Beam Me Up Stout. Bean Me Up Stout, sorry, with an N.
Oh.
It's an espresso stout from Fuggles and Warlock in Richmond.
I've had that. That's a pretty
It
good
is a
one.
delicious one.
Yeah, those guys are good. I really like Fuggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, their mango wit is like my favorite summer beer. It's really good.
So good.
What
And
about
it's
you,
just the
Roz?
art on their cans. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, their art is great. All the
So good.
anime. Well, that one's not anime,
No.
but yeah.
No, but it's
Sci-fi.
got a nice UFO on it,
It
so I'm in.
Roz, what's in the glass? What's in the glass?
What's in the glass?
What's in the glass?
No, today on Beyond Brewing, one of our shows, they're making an IPA today.
Oh.
So I grabbed one of the IPAs they were tasting, which is from Superflux, the color and shape, and it is so good.
Yeah, you're an IPA fan?
Yep, hops, bitter, I love it.
Yeah, right on. I am drinking today. Well, actually, I'm double fisting. I'm finishing off a Schadenfreude, which is Parallel 49, right? Yeah, Parallel 49's pumpkin ale. And this is a Bridge Brewing Bourbon Blood Orange that Andrew went out and got for me special. So thank you very much, Andrew. We have a lot of IPAs around here usually, and I'm not a huge fan. And he pays attention. It's nice. Thanks.
Like you, I can't tolerate bitter.
Yeah. Ugh. Tuh.
You're all wrong.
Ash, what about you?
I mean, also, just for the record, I'm not a huge fan of bitter either. IPAs are a little bit whew for me. But I'm still, just like last time, drinking White Claw. I like it.
Oh,
It's good. It's a mango one. It's tasty.
mango.
Mango.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about you?
Also White Claw.
Oh, yeah. You like those, eh?
They're acceptable.
We gotta get you, what do you want? What do you want, man?
In order of beverages that I actually prefer, a good blended whiskey is actually at the top. I'm not like one of those like
Okay.
single malt purist dickheads. I like just a good blend, or an old fashioned or cider.
We should make
We got to get some
cocktails.
AFL tumblers
Or
because
a
I would
glass of,
totally
like, a
be
nice-
drinking whiskey if I had a proper whiskey glass to drink
Yeah,
in.
yeah, Matt. I know Matt likes his whiskey.
Yeah. There's a lot of whiskey drinkers here. We could get some whiskey.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's get some whiskey.
I really just like start a distillery.
Annette off camera is like, yeah, yes, whiskey.
Build
yes.
our own
Really should.
brewery,
We
so
have a
why not
brewery.
build a distillery?
The
while
next
we're
step,
at it too?
distillery.
The legality. You can brew beer at home. Without a license, you cannot distill. Yes. Yes.
Alas.
Although maybe that's been updated. I don't know. We should look into it.
That won't change.
Or get a license.
We can just get a license, and then
We
we
can
can
do that.
also make gin and put gin in beer.
Ooh. Oh, this is a real weird side note. We have some business to get to before we get into what we're going. But the gin in things, I had this waiter once. I was out having lobster, and get the little like heated butter tray, and he's like, "Would you like a shot of gin to go in your butter?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, you've got to try it." So he comped 2 shots of gin to pour into the butter, and it's amazing.
I think you should put gin in everything.
Oh yeah,
So,
gin in melted butter.
hot tip.
Never would have thought of it. Okay, before we get
Business.
going, yeah, business. So coming up on the channel in the next few days, on Sunday, there's the first episode of a show we've talked about on an episode of Filthy Talk called Pints and Pixels, which I think was 16. I could be wrong. It's called Beyond Brewing, which also what you were talking about drinking. So we have a little teaser to show you what to expect from that show, and here it is.
Brewing beer is an art form that goes back to our very foundations as a collective human society. As soon as we settled into our first cities, we figured out how to turn our agricultural spoils into a refreshing and ultimately satisfying alcoholic beverage. This drink was different, special, desirable. We've mastered how to manipulate 4 basic ingredients: malt, hops, water, and yeast. Our innovation, ingenuity, and social histories have given rise to a vast array of beer styles, each with a distinct and fascinating backstory, steeped in tradition. This show is about telling those stories. A study of the fascinating interplay between humans and the beer they make. A show that highlights the science and technique behind the ingredients they use. Join me, an enthusiastic but untenured homebrew hobbyist,
So I fucked up with the wort chiller.
as I explore and celebrate the community, history, and science of beer.
Appropriate steaming, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. There's heat involved. Yeah.
You're supposed to boil things.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Well, yeah.
nothing ever goes wrong with our equipment.
No, it's faultless. Yeah, so that's on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday we have
Sunday.
this Sunday on YouTube. YouTube. So yeah.
This is what we do in most meetings.
Oh, Ryan, what's up?
I just wanted to come back with a fact check for you. It is technically legal to distill ethanol in Canada, except, and this is the exciting part, for analysis.
Oh, so we need a spirit analysis show,
Right?
and then the
If we're
proof is in
doing
the
it for
pudding.
science, how can they find fault?
For science. All right.
We can get you set up distilling
oh.
for science.
Science.
That's the name of the show right there, Matt.
Well, we can get you set up distilling for science.
Distilling for science. That's
That's pretty good. Okay, one more piece of business, and then we can screw around all we want. So Monday, so there was a thing that we did over the summer. We've talked about a little bit on a couple episodes here. We did 2 things, actually. There was the 2x4 and the 4x4. And those were, basically we shot 6 sketches in way too short a time. It was crazy. But we pulled it off. And those are just, they're going through the post process. And coming up on Monday, you're going to see the first one of the 2x4s. It's called It's Just My Thing. And we have a little teaser of a little behind the scenes-y kind of look at the making of the 2x4. Check it out.
I was gonna let that marinate for a sec. Needed that after today.
How's it been? How's the experience going?
I think we're in good shape.
As long as you don't throw surprises at them last second, then they're typically pretty chill.
Nothing really, no alarm, no fire alarms really went off. We got hit with like a lot of challenges at once.
I was irate.
It was pretty straightforward.
We found out that our shoot was getting pulled 2 days earlier and that our whole last scene had to change.
I know, like you would love for us to be like, the fucking thing is on fire.
I always write too big. This sketch is
It's
evidence of how I write.
That like we lost the shot list and we had to like, we lost the location and everything like that. But it's just
The whole time I was like, why isn't anyone saying I can't yet? Why isn't anyone saying no yet?
There's no shenanigans to be had whatsoever.
Oh, you're actually bringing up old shit.
These are the 2x4s.
Yeah, I know. I was laughing even just watching that because, yeah, it was a lot of fun. As you were saying, our mics were off as far as we know, and Ashford, you were saying that.
Oh, yeah. The 2x4s
Speak, woman.
and 4x4s. I thought you were going to lead into what I had said. Okay, fine.
Say it.
This is what happens when you have couples on the show. They're like, go on, what?
It was a lot of shooting in too short of a time, but it was a lot of fun. And there's something that happens on set when you're working there, and there's a crazy amount of things that you need to complete in too short of a time, but like everyone just pulls together, and there's like this camaraderie fire that gets lit under everyone's butt, and it felt really good, and it was really fun.
And learning opportunities, directing debut.
Yeah.
That as well.
Yeah. You got to direct for the first time.
Yep.
As did several people. Because, yeah, we have a director mentorship program.
And Just My Thing is first time Jordan directing.
Yes.
Yep.
Co-directing.
And co-directing.
Actually, both the 2x4s, the 2x4s both had co-direction
Took you, Pen.
going on. Yeah.
But he wrote and co-directed
And starred
in it.
Yeah.
So, amazing.
And yeah, I think it's his like second time on camera.
He's so good in it, though.
I know, right?
I was color correcting it this week, and it was actually problematic because I normally only listen snippets at a time, like shot by shot, and I just kept finding myself at the end of it because I just sat there watching the whole thing.
Oh.
Damn it, now I've just got to go back and figure out where I was.
I've done that when I'm like going through stuff for notes.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it, and then I'll get lost in it, and then I'm like, oh crap, I need to, I'm looking for this.
So definitely check it out. It's hilarious.
So that one's Monday. So Sunday, Beyond Brewing. Monday, It's Just My Thing.
Saturday, you guys are unboxing again.
Oh yeah, day 6. Tomorrow is we'll be back at.
Did we derail your business? Did you have more business?
No, that was all the business,
Okay.
and then we're gonna get into stuff. But I mean, we can just ramble all we want.
Yay!
There's no rules.
Right, you had a question, Ryan.
I was going to say that Ash was the director of the sketch that I was in, and she did an awesome job.
Oh yeah,
directing.
right.
Oh yeah, Ryan was
It was a real pleasure to work for.
He was our cast member #1.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
I remember I was there.
Like,
I was
how-
also in that one.
How much acting did you do prior to that? Because like you would take like a note and just like immediately get it and run with it, because we had to shoot fast.
Other than one time when I was 10 years old and I played the young boy in a flashback sequence of a dude that was like dying of AIDS complication in some weird arty short film my dad's friend, who was also his weed dealer, was making.
Whoa!
And then like
I think that really buried the lead there.
I recorded a series of like Korean language ESL instructional tapes. None. I mean, I've done a lot of improv, but I've never done any.
Ryan is excellent at improv.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well,
Yeah,
and
dude.
improv is a really great training ground for taking direction and being able to change and not like cement something.
Yep.
Like if you've taken a script and just rehearsed a certain way and you can't now take direction and change your performance, improv is just off the cuff. Like you're not committed to anything because other than the moment. But yeah, great job. All that stuff. We'll get more into that stuff another time. Today is Friday the 13th.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or
Just another day.
And that's just the thing. Is it bad luck or is it just another day? Thoughts?
It depends on who you talk to. I am 0% superstitious.
Really?
Yeah.
0%. That's a strong.
Okay, you might
coming
be
out of
able,
the gate like
It's a tall claim.
nothing.
you might be able to prove me wrong, but I don't think I have any superstitions.
There's nothing that you ever do in your life where you're like, even if it's habit or something that comes from
Yeah.
your parents.
Do you touch wood? Like.
I say no.
Oh no!
I shouldn't have to
else was
ask. I
laughing,
know.
too.
Oh, Brian laughed like in the background, but no, like or knock on wood. Like you say something like, "Oh, this isn't gonna happen," or do you ever cross your fingers?
I think I say and do those things out of just sort of like it's a social norm, not out
Yeah.
of a superstition involved with it.
Some superstitions I think are trained in.
Do you believe that there's such thing as being lucky or unlucky?
No.
I do the knock on wood thing, not because I believe it does anything, but just
Yeah.
because it amuses me to do it, and I don't know, it's fun. Knock on wood, and then you got to figure out, because like so often these days, there's no actual wood around you. There's things that look like wood.
It's true. It's totally true.
And then there's the challenge of finding the appropriate thing to knock on.
just running around.
I have some family members
I
that
tend to
would
just
say,
walk away from whatever conversation I was in. Just like, gotta go find some wood.
I cursed myself. I gotta go.
I have some family members that would say knock on wood and just like hit their noggin.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I do the thing where I like, if I say something where I should knock on wood, I open my mouth too when I do it, so that it goes.
Wait, so you don't feel like you're not superstitious, there's no lucky or unlucky for you. do any of your family members feel different? Because I think we're not very superstitious people. My mom has some things that she likes to, go by. A little bit of that, like, how to be lucky or unlucky. She's a big proponent of the things come in threes. So if she gets bad news twice.
Oh, you believe
like,
in that one.
Ooh, look out.
Oh, I do.
You always say things come in threes.
Well, they do. That's not superstition. That's just fact.
That's just how your brain chooses to group things.
It could also very well be
tidy groups of three. But she does feel genuinely like if she gets 2 bits of bad news, she's expecting a 3rd bit of bad news.
So I had to look this up because I was like, Friday the 13th has always been a thing in society since in Western society since I've been alive, but I've only been alive almost as long as basically. Wait, Ryan? When did the first Friday the 13th movie come out?
Fact-checking.
Yeah, called on.
Oh, but there is something about it just being in our. I think we grew up in a culture that our media was filled with it, but.
Yes. But I kind
Our
of assumed
building doesn't have a 13th floor. It's more than just because of the movie.
So the fear of the actual number 13 originates from Norse mythology. Because I had to look this up. I was like,
So Friday the 13th came out
1980?
in 1980.
Yeah!
But I don't know that's correct, that the fear of 13 came from Norse mythology, because Friday the 13th apparently comes from the Last Supper, because there were 12.
Which is after Norse mythology. They stole it. So
like they stole everything.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they stole everything.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I'll accept that. Yeah, no,
Easter and like, why do you think there's an Easter rabbit? It's because it's a symbol of fertility and it's a symbol in the spring and it's a pagan holiday. But Norse mythology, there was a dinner in Valhalla and Loki wasn't invited and he was the 13th guest. And then he convinced Hor, H-O-O-R, but it's got a little umlaut over top of it. Anyway, he kills Balder and he fires an arrow at Balder because Loki convinces him to. And then the light, like the sun, goes out on Earth. And that was like where the fear of 13 came from. And then the Last Supper is 13 people at the dinner and Jesus was executed on a Friday. So that's where Friday the 13th, but just 13 itself is Norse mythology. And it's dinners.
I don't think Friday existed at that time.
In Norse mythology, or which?
In Jesus' time, the Julian calendar and all those names are only like 1,000 years old. I mean, they could say it's on a Friday.
Well, they tried to say Good Friday and Easter Monday, right? Like that was the execution and the resurrection.
So where's the tie-in for wasn't Friday based on Frigg's Day and Thursday was Thor's Day and Wednesday was Odin's Day, Wednesday,
Odin's.
something.
Woden's Day. Yeah.
Woden's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta say it right.
Yeah. Well, we've had lots of different kinds of calendars that have just been solidified into our current calendar.
Yeah.
And they all had different names for days.
But wait, so
I was going to say, in the let's say 07, that's not the right number, but I'm going to say 1907, Olympics, the Russian delegation showed up a week late because they were still using the Gregorian calendar.
Oh, crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Get with the
Literally
times,
using
bros.
a different calendar than the rest of the world, so they showed up to the Olympics a week late. I love that.
Oh.
So Friday the 13th, what about our cam ops? Are you guys very suspicious?
Suspicious?
Even?
Not suspicious. Superstitious.
They don't trust you, Roz.
You know what?
They are
Probably
very
suspicious as well. They're like,
Oh no!
why is she on this show?
I only had half a beer. Oh no. They're sort of nodding as though not so much. I don't know anybody else. We're looking.
I don't think they're
around.
mic'd today.
I know, but I'm just curious. Generally, thumbs up. You're superstitious.
Oh yeah, the superstitions are rampant, Macbeth.
Yeah, I like to just walk around saying Macbeth around
The
theater
Scottish
people.
play.
Yeah.
Well, I actually like the whole break a leg thing. I mean, first of all, where the fuck did that come from? Telling someone to break a leg? How is that better?
Maybe
than
it's
good
from
luck?
Being cast? No.
That's a good pun. I was thinking it's from when you're on stage and you're just you're just chewing up the scenery and you just slam that table down and it breaks and you weren't expecting it and just commit so hard you break a leg.
I dig that.
No.
What's up?
It comes from the best place.
Oh.
Oh my God, I was not ready for how excellent this fact is. the term break a leg comes from the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
What?
Because after he shot Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth jumped over the ledge of the theater booth that he was in and fell and broke his leg.
Oh. But why is that? That's not good
know,
luck
'cause it
at
happened in a
all.
theater?
That is so not
That's
good
crazy.
luck. That's horrible.
I love it.
Okay, that's
So,
weird. Yeah,
If we're not superstitious people,
I am.
yeah, okay.
But
Maybe
I'm-
we should hear a little bit about yours.
I'm not
Go
so
ahead, before we
superstitious that I'm
debunk
like.
everything.
No, I don't care if you debunk it because I don't fully believe it. Like I do the rituals because like my mom was always like the itchy hand thing. Like if your palm is itchy on your right hand, you're gonna gain money. If it's on your left hand, you're gonna lose money. Which I looked up and apparently that's a Lithuanian thing.
The only thing I ever heard about palms was very different.
It had to do with hair, didn't it? But like, if you spill salt, you have to take a pinch and throw it over your shoulder.
Does it matter which shoulder?
I think it's right
Has to
hand
be
over
your
the left
left
shoulder. Yeah. So see, isn't that weird? Like, where does that come from? Like, and someone did it wrong once, and the devil showed up. Like, is that what happened? Like,
But we do all like say bless you or whatever when people sneeze.
Yes.
which is-
I don't.
that's like a weird tick for me. I say bless you, and I'm not religious, which is like that speaks levels to a psychiatrist, I'm sure.
I just like to be acknowledged when I sneeze.
So you'd be fine with like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. You know, give me some attention. I just sneezed. Like,
That makes no sense at all. What if there was bad attention? If people would be
attention's attention.
Get out.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Oh, I beg to differ. Especially in the last.
Speaking of superstitions.
So you're talking about other superstitions that are with you or your family.
Yeah, well, there's the salt and all that thing. I mean, the walking under ladders thing. I looked up where that comes from because that one's. I had no idea where that
I
originated.
just feel like you're likely to be hit by something if you're walking
And
up a ladder.
that one actually has some like grounding in common sense because of that. Yeah, people working up a ladder might drop a wrench on your head, right? Or paint.
Wrench is very specific.
And
I said or paint.
I assume breaking
you're just
mirrors
going around
is just
dropping
because
wrenches
mirrors used to be hella expensive.
Oh,
So they were
yeah.
just like,
Isn't there another
kids,
superstition?
don't break the mirrors. You'll get bad luck. But it was just, we can't afford a new mirror.
But there's another superstition that you shouldn't have a mirror facing another mirror.
Yes, it's Mexican and apparently a couple other places because it's a gateway for the devil. So the salt, devil's got a lot of pathways. If you spill salt, you put mirrors facing each
sneeze.
other, which we have mirrors facing each other at home in our bathroom.
Can I have mirrors facing each other if they're surrounded by an unbroken circle of salt? Because that should keep the devil out, shouldn't it?
So the unbroken circle of salt, the circle of salt only protects something within the circle.
Yeah, so the mirrors are in the
Then you can
circle,
never
but it's
leave.
there. So the mirrors should be safe if they're inside the circle. Nothing can happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
sounds
There's logic. I mean, I dig it.
There.
I mean, all of this stuff is, unless all of it's real, then it's all just something people made up and believed. And I think a lot of that comes from, I was going to get into this later. I want to finish.
But it's also like the old wives' tales that protect other people, from something that maybe you don't understand entirely. So you make up a story because humans are
yes.
just natural storytellers.
This is true. This is what I was going to talk about later. But I was we got an hour to fill. It'll all happen when it happens. And like the further back you go, there is sort of like a predilection of humans to. Alex said it really interestingly earlier. He said, "What was it? God, the gap." What was it, Alex? What? God of the gaps? Yeah. God of the gaps. So places where we don't have an understanding, we would associate gods with them, like God of this, God of that, the God of rocks, the God of
don't understand lightning.
yeah,
we
God
think
of
it's
waterfalls.
God.
Yeah, and like, and that I don't know. I mean, the further back you go, right? It's,
All I know about waterfalls is that usually there is treasure behind them.
yes, always check behind the
Always
waterfall.
check. Always check.
Always check. But yeah, it is like a thing that we just fill the gaps with story, but I think science sort of increases our understanding
ruins
and it
fun for everyone.
totally ruins it.
Except for those of us who think science is fun.
That was excellent.
As Matt just brings up an Erlenmeyer flag.
We have so many of those.
I am by absolutely no means a scientist whatsoever. I never really studied it. I was bad at it in school. But I do find it fascinating, almost in sort of like Matt's shirt right now, that science is kind of magic that's real.
Yep.
And like if you think of ideas like, matter can neither be like created or gotten rid of or whatever, then all of the molecules in your body have been around for like a millennia, and that's kind of like exciting and magical in and of itself.
Well, that's
so cool to think of that, like you were out in space and now you're here.
Yeah.
And now some of those.
We're still out in space technically.
This
also
guy.
true.
And then, you're going to go back out and maybe be a part of something else and crazy and amazing somewhere someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a nice thought.
But of your superstitions when you're a kid, how much of it is also, like, for me, a bit of that OCD tendency? As a science kid, someone tells you something like, don't step on cracks. And then you're like, I will be very diligent about that, and I will never step on a crack. And then I will count them all, and I will make sure that I know how many there are between here and school.
I
and
did
I
that
will not
same
step
thing.
on a single, right?
Oh yeah, I got good marks in science.
Stepping on cracks is a thing for me, but it's not usually because of superstition, but it's something when my mental health is going really off the rails, I find myself unable to step on cracks.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really awkward. And there was a section of the walk to the university that was just like all little bricks, and I found that so frustrating.
Oh yeah.
I'd be like tiptoeing, hopping through it, just being like, "This is so stupid. Why are you doing this? Maybe you should see a shrink."
So
I did, and now I'm better.
Now I walk on bricks all the time.
Yep. Cracks are no problem for me.
That's a huge victory, man. Like it is, because I used to do the same thing, and I used to wonder that. Like I'd avoid like the big obvious cracks, but then like in like the squares of sidewalk, I'd step away from those, and then I'd come to like brick stuff where there's cracks everywhere, and I'm like, I'm fucked. Like I'm gonna break my mom's back. Like how is this gonna happen?
I used to have a weird it's not so much anymore, but it was really, really prevalent when I was in like elementary school and high school. I have minor OCD. So it was a balance thing where if I stepped on a crack with this foot, then I had to step on a crack with this foot.
Oh.
But then if I stepped on a crack with this foot and it was slightly further back on the pad of my foot, then I had to step slightly further back on the pad of this foot. And then I had to like balance out the way that the cracks hit my feet.
Interesting.
Similar to like my speed bump.
Did you have a thought associated with that? That like, if I do this, then what?
No. It wasn't a superstition thing. It was just like I need to balance out my body kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was my crack thing.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's what we're learning is that a lot of weirdos work here.
Well,
John,
I mean,
we're not just learning that.
I think the creativity thing goes hand in hand with.
But it's not just
strange.
It's not just us.
Not
It's
usual.
I think as you were doing a bit of research, superstitions are around the world. They're just different everywhere.
Yeah.
We're saying that there's no 13th floor in our building, but there's also no fourth floor.
Yeah.
And no 4 anywhere.
Yeah,
and that's
we don't have a 14th floor. We
coming
don't,
from
No 14th.
there are
Yeah, there
no
are no
floor,
floors.
no
Oh, that's
floors on
weird.
any floor in our building.
Oh, that's
Oh,
really
wow.
weird.
that's coming
Yeah.
from like an Asian superstition
Yes. It's because of the word.
about yeah.
The word for 4 is essentially the same word for death.
Oh, that's
Or very similar. Yeah, and it's crazy, right? So not crazy. Interesting.
I think that's in Cantonese, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's.
I don't know the language, but when we moved from Alberta, where there were no 13th floors, and then we moved to Vancouver, and there was
No 4,
no 13, and no floor with 4 in our.
I used to live on a 13th floor, and it was the top floor, so it just said P. Penthouse, and I was like, "This is not exactly a penthouse." Were you going to say something, Ryan, or no? Oh, I didn't have anything. No. Okay, I have a question for everyone here. And it's funny because you guys don't say. You say you're all not superstitious, but when it comes to like phenomena or the intangible and the unexplained, especially as like scientists.
I believe in a fair amount of paranormal.
Okay. But where's the line? So where like what kind of thing needs to happen in an event for you to suddenly go, oh, this is beyond like a realm of comprehension, or at least our current level of understanding. This is bordering into the supernatural.
It tends to be when the example I like to use is the idea of auras. And people being able to see auras and being able to tell that, like, oh, you're sick in this part of your body because I can see it from your aura. And I think there is validity to that because I can connect some scientific facts, even if I don't understand how it works. The fact remains that not everybody can see colors in the same way. There are people, you could easily have a mutation that allowed you to see more infrared than other people. And so you'd be seeing the heat off people's bodies, which would look like a glow, and where you're sick is hotter than the rest of your body. So you would be able to see where people were sick if you were more sensitive to infrared light. And we see this in some animals. Bees can see ultraviolet light that we can't. So flowers actually have different colors on them than we can see. Because they've got ultraviolet colors towards the center that bring bees to the center. But because I can make that jump, I think, it's not unreasonable that some people could, I don't think it's definite, but it makes sense. I definitely believe aliens exist. I doubt they've actually been to Earth, but, I do like a good conspiracy. So,
There's a
and
reason
I really
why we
like
dressed up for
cryptids.
Halloween.
I love the
He was
idea that
Mulder.
cryptids. Yeah, I want to believe, more than I do believe.
Fair.
But I love cryptids. Like the idea that Ogopogo is a real thing. There easily could be. We don't know anything about underwater, and the amount of caverns.
We don't know
and stuff
anything
there.
is not.
We don't know much.
There is a lot we don't know.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
not
okay,
exactly.
We know some things, but like we don't know what's down there. We don't know. We've not been into cavern systems down there.
It's not a hospitable environment for us or our instrumentation.
I think Ogopogo was recently proven to be a weird lake current system. Like not that long ago.
That's what the man wants you to
Yeah. There's been recent footage of Ogopogo.
Oh yeah?
Like of Ogopogo, but there's been
How
like
can there be one? It's so ridiculous to think there would
it's
be
probably
one.
not one.
What if it's not one?
But
It's
then
multiple
where are
ones.
they?
Probably multiples, or it's a lineage, and it's a really deep lake.
It's not,
And only one
you know
comes
how
up at a
deep-
time.
Giant squids were a myth until like a couple decades ago when they started actually finding them. Like, stuff is weird.
Stuff
No
is
one had
weird.
seen a coelacanth in forever, and then they're like, oh, they're in the Indian Ocean. It's not actually extinct.
That was weird. Yes.
We don't know what's going on under the water.
Damn right.
What is a coelacanth?
You
It's
might
like
have
an
caught one
old
in Animal
bony-
Crossing.
It's an old bony prehistoric fish that
Very
does
large.
actually still exist.
Oh.
It's spelt coelacanth.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. Okay.
So that's the thing, like Loch Ness Monster and Ogopogo, I think that it's just some form of ocean life that we don't, like, that's not hard, that's not a stretch for me.
Yeah,
Even
I
Bigfoot.
think it's
like,
probably in people's heads, but it's not. There is, somewhere on the stat curve, it could exist.
Yeah. Same with Bigfoot, Yeti, that kind of thing. They could totally be out there. Like if you go for just a plane ride, like from here to Alberta, and fly over, like if you're going up over the mountains at all, there's so much area that's just untouched. Like there could be any kind of species out there that just like maybe they're good at hiding.
Yeah. Look at a bear. Bears are huge, and you can easily pass within a few feet of a bear and not see it.
Exactly.
Yep.
That is true.
So if there's some other form of like ape-like creature that's just bigger than us and less evolved, or maybe they're more evolved, they just don't dig on technology and they're like, you guys are doing it wrong. Like, who knows?
You're doing it wrong. I don't disagree. We're not doing it great.
Yeah.
If you, as I do, enjoy cryptozoology, do you remember Survivor Man? Remember Survivor Man? Les Stroud back in the day? Canadian dude did these like awesome sort of like surviving in the wilderness.
So much
shows
better
back
than
in the
Bear
day.
Grylls.
So much better. He actually did it himself in the wild. He was his own camera crew. He's a G. But he's been posting his Bigfoot series on YouTube.
Oh.
So if you have any interest in cryptids and Bigfoot specifically,
I
highly
I
recommend
will
it.
definitely check that out.
Yeah, Survivor Man, Les Stroud. Just search that in YouTube.
Sweet.
I want to, from you guys, the same question about like where do you draw the line of this is quantifiable, understandable as far as like our understanding goes of how things work, where's the line that suddenly I've entered into the realm of unexplained? Like, what would have to happen? Not even stuff that has happened, but what, like, if this glass started floating in the air, would you immediately be like, science can explain that, or would you go, holy shit, a ghost? Like, what, like, where?
I would say science hasn't been able to explain that yet, but it's clearly happening. And there would be...
Would you apply something to it?
No, because I'm not a scientist and I'm not capable of that.
Well, no, beyond science. I mean, would you go, like, would you think that there was a ghost? Like, if say it floated in the air and then suddenly it went whoosh and hit the fucking wall, would you assume that there was some force exerted on that had malicious intent?
I would think that it's just something that we haven't been able to understand up until this point.
Sure.
You know, like if you go back, you know,
You wouldn't go ghost.
No,
I would.
I'd have a heart. I'd be like, that's a ghost. How does science explain ghosts now?
exactly that.
I
But
really
it's
want
clearly a ghost.
I want it to happen so bad right now. It would be amazing. Like, live on YouTube, fucking, they'd be like, they're filmmakers, it's all bullshit. And we'd all be like, no, it's real.
I think the big difference between when we argue about this kind of stuff at home or we're having fun and we're watching stuff is that, you know, I'm a bit of a stick in the mud about it. Whatever. Don't make that face.
100% totally agree. Stick in the mud.
You know, because I am a bit, I usually take the side of being like, I'm sure there's an explanation, we just don't know yet.
Yeah.
But that's not different than what I think.
Yeah, but because you want to believe, I think, you take it to the place of, these are all the other cool things it could be. And I don't even bother worrying about those other things because why spend time thinking about all those cool things it could be when it's probably not?
Okay, and yet, especially for the two of you, you guys write fantasy. In D&D, you've created an entire world together. So why do you enjoy those fantastical stories and yet separate from them and want everything to be grounded in explainable facts?
You should probably see our very complicated star charts for the moons that go around the planet.
Yeah, when I create worlds, I start with, okay, this is the shape of the planet. What way is it spinning? What size is it relative to Earth? Okay, here's where the land masses are. This is probably where the tectonic plates are. So this is how the water is going. So we got currents here. So this is where there's jungles based on currents. And now that I know where this stuff is,
Yeah, so Altero...
the people that are here, what are they going to have access to? So this is what they're going to develop. It does go. Even our fantasy, we created a world on a donut planet when we discovered that a donut planet, in theory, can actually exist.
Science. Oh.
And the coolest thing about a donut planet is that gravity is different on different parts of the planet.
That makes sense.
So the areas where the gravity is lowest at the rims, you can have.
Around the edge.
You know, that's where dragons would develop because they're huge. They're huge.
Low gravity,
get
dragons.
in the air with less dragon.
Wouldn't the low gravity be in the middle of the whole of the donut? Because you'd also there'd be a gravitational force exerted from the other side of the same ring?
I don't know. This is what scientists said. Okay. I'm not a physicist. I'm a microbiologist.
But go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say there's a great fan theory floating around that the world of Game of Thrones can be more easily explained if it's some sort of like binary or trinary star system, which sort of explains the like long winter and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool. Okay, so Altero, I just want to talk about this for a second because I didn't know that you guys put that much, I should have assumed, that you put that much work into the science of the geography of it. That's amazing.
The big circle ocean that's on it that looks like a crater thing, I did a whole bunch of research to even know where the islands in the center would be, and based on what size of asteroid that would have hit, is it just a crater or a big enough asteroid actually has a peak at the center?
Well, that makes sense. Like a drop of water in the...
Yeah, which is why there's the ring of
entry.
islands.
We really wanted there to be a central circular shaped ocean based on that crater, but then what would those islands be shaped like around it and why?
Okay. But
secrets for Ellen.
You still have sorcerers and magic and warlocks and gods and all that shit. So
Wait, did you tell them about the science of our magic?
no.
Not in Altero so much. That's in our other things. But it tends to be based on chaos. And the idea in Altero and why there is a science one, and because there's Altero Prime that is science and Altero Not that is fantasy. But the idea is that magic is based on chaos that is inherent in things, but it would be the equivalent of the energy that can be released from an atom. An atom is a tiny thing that's inconsequential, but you smash that apart, and it releases a lot of energy. And so magic would not be that dissimilar from that. It's just a different way of harnessing the energy that is inside of things.
I dig on that.
I just want to sit down on a really long story time with you guys describing the world. Because I remember when we first met working on like a smaller project back in 2013 or 14 or whatever it was. And the thing that solidified the two of you in my memory was talking about that, I think it was that donut world and how people would be like differently shaped.
Well, we got really excited to talk about the fact that we wanted a typical fantasy world, you know, in the way we think of there are elves and there are dwarves and there are humans and there are, you know, classic fantasy characters, but we were going to do it based on the level of gravity. So dwarves would be at higher gravity places in the world because they would be shorter and stockier, and elves would be tall and slim. Not that all elves have to be tall and slim, but whatever. There could be elves that are affected by gravity in a way, you know, so they would be shorter and stockier kinds of elves because they would be living in the part of the world that gravity is just higher, so they just evolved in these places. But of course, by the time that we're doing our storytelling in those worlds, everybody's traveled everywhere. So most people are just mixed across the planet, but they're from a place and would have evolved because of the science of the planet itself.
That's some good backstory.
That's so cool.
It really is. I dig it a lot. We've derailed very hard from Friday the 13th.
I don't know,
which is fine. Who cares? Whatever.
It doesn't mean that we also don't have
Filthy talk is derailment the show.
It is. It's fun. I love it. Okay.
It doesn't mean that we don't have superstitions on our planets too, though, because they evolve from places where people tell stories in order to comfort themselves in the things they can't explain. At least that's how I feel about superstition.
Yes, and I mean that's how it, not just superstition, but I mean mythology, or what was then religion and now current religion. I mean, if our current religion systems completely go away, eventually they'll be referred to as like Christian mythology. Like, it's just that's all going to happen, and it's all just stories that are all made up for absence of understanding. I think a lot of it is
or comfort. That comes from the community that feels the same way that you do.
Yes.
In a way to communally comfort each other.
Oh, totally. And I think a lot of it is fear. Fear is utilized. Fear is a very powerful tool. If you if you break everything down between like fear and love as the only two things, fear is a really strong element in storytelling, especially to alter behavior. And like, I think that a lot of the like rhymes for superstitions, like step on a crack, break your mother's back, like when hearing that as a kid, it gets programmed into your brain. You don't want to hurt your mom because your mom is basically God to you.
Yeah, classic horror storytelling comes from the first thing delivered in a classic horror story is the warning. You know, that you don't do this or else X will happen. I mean, most horror stories will follow that plot. Don't go out to, you know, this dangerous camp as a bunch of drunk teenagers because someone will murder you. And then they all do, and then they all get murdered, and success.
So are you guys fans of horror?
Yes. Matt and I used to go to a horror festival in Edmonton, Deadmonton. So fun. But they would just be premieres of new horror films that are coming out, and then a bunch of garbage classics. So good.
Those are fun.
So fun. And everybody would kind of drink and hang out, and it would be very scary to go to the bathroom by yourself at like 2 a.m. somewhere lost in the theater complex, winding your way through. There weren't as many ladies there, and they were like, the ladies' bathroom would be in the basement.
Oh.
And I would be going there by myself, and I was like, if Matt jumps out and tries to scare me because he thinks it's hilarious, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Yeah. Did it ever happen?
No, but he...
No, I'm smarter than that.
He was totally like, I'm like nudging our friend Chris. He was like, I'm going to follow Roz and scare her. And they were all like, that's a bad idea. She'll hurt you. Don't.
Good instincts.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like the idea of horror, but there's a number of things that are sort of like off the plate for me because I'm kind of a wuss, and I will have nightmares for a very long time.
Like what?
So anything to do with a haunted house, I can't handle it because my home is my safe space, and I don't want to think about, you know, the haunted thing that's there in my house. It's too unsettling.
Did you watch Paranormal Activity?
I did not.
Oh.
You should.
Yeah.
So haunted houses are like off the table. I'm not a huge fan of haunted woods because I like to go out into the woods and nature in the dark, and I don't want to be afraid of that.
So what kind of horror do you like?
Children and dolls? No.
Ooh, I do not. Dolls are fucking
No.
creepy as fuck.
What is that?
No fucking dolls.
Like, that's so weird.
No clowns.
Because even when I say, oh, no clowns?
No clowns.
Really?
No. But anything that might be kind of like possible or realistic, like serial killers and blood and gore, totally fine.
But as long as
So if it could actually happen to you, you're like, that's cool. I'm not going to lose sleep on this.
Weirdly enough, that is exactly correct, yes. I don't know why. If it could actually happen to me, I don't find it scary. I find it like it prepares me
Isn't it
for
interesting that
potential possibilities.
I think it's actually quite common that with the rise in the popularity of serial killer podcasts and shows about serial killers, there are a lot of women interested in that content. What is it about?
majority women.
Oh, we like spooky scaries of things that could really happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that, I mean, wait, what do you think?
About what?
About that aspect.
Spooky things that could actually happen?
No.
Or why
The
women
fact
are
that
so
why is
into
it women? I was going to say something and I'm like, I should let the women speak on this one.
Oh, fuck.
I just have a thought, but
I don't-
who gives a shit what I think?
I think we live our lives in the fear of that actually happening to us. So
That's
it's,
what I was gonna
yeah,
say.
it's tangible. It's real. So you know when you're walking down the street by yourself, it occurs to us more often. Not that it doesn't happen to everyone else, but for people who are female identifying, when you're walking down the street, you often get that feeling of, you know, I'm just gonna just have a little check around. Okay, I'm a little extra little back there. Oh, someone else is okay. Cool. I'm just gonna keep a little eye on that. Got my phone handy. Got my things. I know where I'm going. I'm double checking what's happening. And because we live in that world, we have that mentality already. But it doesn't mean that we don't also enjoy the spooky thrill of watching it happen, which is, I think, the same way everybody loves a roller coaster because it's real and it's about to happen, but you know that it's safe. So when you're consuming it as a media, and
Most of the time.
you've been on
Yeah, no
roller
one's ever
coasters
died on a
with
roller coaster.
You're from Edmonton. People die on that roller
They
coaster.
really do.
But yeah, I think it's a level of like you just said, with horror movies about like serial killers and that kind of thing, is learning. It's preparing yourself for something that might actually happen.
But it's Hollywood preparing, so it's not really preparing.
That's true, but not the like Roz was talking about podcasts. Like if you're listening to like murder podcasts.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of my favorite murder, and I really enjoy it. And that's real stories of shit that happened to real people, and it's terrifying.
So you know what not to do.
And I eat that shit up, and I'm like, and I know so much more now about things that I need to watch out for.
Yeah.
That I didn't know about before.
Yeah, learning is half the battle. The other half is red and blue lasers. G.I. Joe.
I get it.
Nothing. It's like, no.
But I also really, I prefer, I think I like the really stupid horror. I love it to be over the top, bloody,
I like
B-movie?
ridiculous horror because
huge Japanese, like crazy, just like spraying blood everywhere, monster limbs, all sorts of crap like that. Super fun.
I've been scared by like one movie in my life.
What? That's it?
Yeah, it was The Exorcist. The first time I saw it, I was raised Catholic, and I just remember I was in like, I don't know, grade
still
9
kinda
or
scared of it.
something. And just, I watched it, and then I was lying in bed, and I was just like, if I fall asleep, the devil's gonna take me. Like,
Oh.
And I don't believe in any of that stuff, and I was still just like, devil's gonna take me if I fall asleep.
Can't
Like,
sleep, clown will eat me.
Exactly. And that's the only time. So I prefer over-the-top horror, because I find ones that are actually trying to be scary just kind of lame and trying too hard. Like, I thought The Ring was boring. Like, I did not find it scary at all. Except for the finger going on the nail. That part was disturbing. That's the only thing I even remember about that
My
movie.
mom is hilarious, and she knew I was watching The Ring, so she phoned me right at the part where she knew it would probably line up with the movie. I was like, you piece of shit.
Your mom is amazing.
Yeah, she was like, we're doing it, it's hilarious.
My mom was so scared by The Exorcist the first time she saw it. When I asked my parents to pick it up for me, because they were going to the video store, she wouldn't pick it up. She made my stepdad pick it up. So then, of course, I watched it at midnight in the room beside their bedroom so she could hear it. It was just like...
Wait, what was your favorite kind of horror?
Oh, geez, I'm actually a big horror fan. I haven't been able to watch a lot for the last 7 years because Ash doesn't like a ton of it.
You can watch stuff without me?
No, but I don't like watching it alone.
The 2004 Dawn of the Dead, I was watching alone at midnight while my ex was like doing field work, and I had to stop it because I was like, this is creepy. Alone at midnight. I can watch this earlier
half
in the
of a
day.
thing on the pipes in the parking garage in that movie.
See, that doesn't scare me. That part doesn't. That guy, because I was
kid
like,
at the beginning though, right?
why is he? How'd he get up there? No, the kid at the beginning is absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Horror. What I want to talk about and ask you guys is, what do you think? Because you mentioned that fear is like it's kind of titillating, right? Like something about being scared. I know someone have said I'd rather feel pain than nothing at all because at least I know I'm alive, kind of thing. And is that something? Do you think that's why horror is such a big thing and such a big part of our society?
Well, being afraid is really important to us for our own survival, right? And we play with fear in order to go close to the edge, and then if we get close to the edge, we know how we respond, and we do all of these ways to deal with that, and then it maximizes our chance to successfully survive the next encounter.
Yeah.
So there is something about just naturally we love to be afraid, but we love to be afraid to a point where it's fun still, and then when we move back into a space where it's safe, it's like, we made it, it's all woo.
Yeah. The next time I encounter a friggin' demon that tries to possess me, I will be ready, because I've seen The Exorcist and several other movies about exorcism.
Just keep some salt on you.
Yeah. Circle. Safe.
So The Ring didn't scare me when I watched it, but afterwards, where I used to live, that was a long time ago, living room, TV, long dark hallway bedroom. And I'd stay up later than everyone else and not watching horror movies or anything, watching anything. And with all the lights out because everyone else is asleep, The Ring fucked me up with the girl coming out of the TV because at the time it didn't scare me.
Great
but
image.
Afterwards, I couldn't leave that living room without running to my bedroom at night because I thought that the TV was going to kick on and suddenly it would come out. I was
You
just
jumped to Ryan and then to Matt.
I was going to say I had a TV that was in the basement suite that I lived in at the time, where in the couple of months after I'd watched The Ring, the TV just turned itself on in the middle of the night.
And you're still alive.
Yeah, it happened twice, and once it was to static. Once it was the first time it happened, it was to just a random TV channel, and I was like, the TV, I guess I left it on. The second time, it just turned on in the middle of the night to static, and the static sound woke me up, and I was just not okay with the situation.
No, that's not okay. That's super scary.
But
amazing
at the end of it, how fun was that?
did you ever?
Not fun at all.
No,
Did you guys?
it was so fun.
Did you guys watch that on DVD? Because at the time, DVD was all there was.
I saw it in theater.
There was a special feature on the DVD. Did you ever hunt? Do you guys hunt for Easter eggs on DVDs, like old school DVDs? Did you ever do that?
Not really.
So in the Rings DVD, I was screwing around in the special features and stuff, like you go up, 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 and then you push up again to see if the cursor disappears, and it disappears. And in surround sound, out of the rear speaker, it went. I was like, what the hell? It was such a well-crafted.
I admit I have a serious fear of zombies. It is pretty intense. And as a kid, I love horror movies, and I've always loved horror movies. And I had a deal with my mom as a kid where if I read the Stephen King book first, I was allowed to watch the movie. So.
Oh no!
Oh no! I know. Pet Sematary is very scary as a movie, as a kid. As a book, I was like, I can handle this. This is great. Turn the movie on. Now I have a lifelong fear of zombies. Great. And so I just collected because I think
Your zombie fear comes from Pet Sematary?
No. Well, it all kind of came together at the same time, where then I was like, zombies are really, really scary. I'm going to rent every single zombie movie I can get my paws on.
Yeah.
So, and my neighbor across the street, same age as me, Mark and I went out and we rented like every single old zombie movie we could find. And we just like binged them all. And then at the end of it, I was like, I'm kind of scared of zombies now. Like to the point where if we drive past a graveyard, I just got to keep my eyeballs on it. Just in case.
That's just a good habit.
Right? I'm just like, whatever conversation we're having is fine. Yep. Sure. I'm just going to keep and we're good. Okay.
You're only irrational and paranoid until it happens.
Right.
And then everyone else is going to look stupid.
My most irrational, 100% irrational thing, and it doesn't affect me now, but I was in my late 20s when this stopped bothering me. As a kid, do you remember the movie Ghoulies?
Yes.
So I've never seen it. But
Me
I
neither,
remember seeing
because of
the
the
cover
cover
of
with
it
the toilet?
with the thing coming out of the toilet. And that had such an impact on me as a child that I was in my late 20s before I could flush a toilet in the dark.
Wait. Sorry, that was the movie with the thing coming out of the toilet?
There's three of them.
Like this little green goblin coming out. Yeah.
No, but there's one out of like the top tank and one out of the bowl.
That's probably in Ghoulies too.
Okay, so this was on my TV as a kid during family days, and there was fireworks going on outside, and I was terrified of. I didn't give a shit about fireworks, but I went in to watch TV, and there was something coming out of 2 toilet tanks, and I ran out to watch the fireworks, crying because of the things coming out. I didn't know what movie that was. You just solved a lifelong mystery for me. Thank you.
I was going to try and steer this earlier down like a whole urban legend thing.
Or I assume we were going to talk about Friday the 13th, the movie. No? Okay.
But there was an urban legend. I came across an article trying to like just cram for this quickly. It was 11 urban legends that turned out to be true, and it had to do with rats coming out of a toilet.
Yeah, they can.
They go through the pipes.
Yeah, they totally can do that. I think my favorite urban legend is like, alligators and stuff that get flushed, and so like sewers being full of like alligators and everything. I love the idea of that.
Has that?
No. Nothing should come back up out of our toilet.
It's a big alligator. It's not gonna fit through the pipe.
No. There's alligators,
the sewers are
there could be
dangerous.
snake things. I don't know. I don't live in Australia. I assume there's giant spiders in their toilets, and
Oh my God!
like it.
Look up snakes in toilets in Australia. It's an actual problem.
Like coiled, like just under the bowl seat.
Yeah, like within.
We're one of a YouTube channel we watch a lot. How Ridiculous is in Australia, and there was one recently where they had to like pause the filming for snakes. Their like editor was standing there. They were doing something on a golf course, and they're like, "Wait, what's going on?" And he's just like, "Snake, huge snake."
Hold for snakes.
No.
We're gonna pause for train or plane, and they're like, "Hold for snake, hold for snake, mate." Just everyone running.
And the next best part is they really do say fair dinkum all the time on this channel.
That's fair dinkum. Yeah.
I know. I assumed that was like old passé slang, but no.
So
I love
horror movies, we should do another episode just about horror stuff because
we're gonna
big
have
fan.
to. Yeah, we went. Oh, you know what movie had a surprising again? There's whoa. Oh, okay.
Yep, we're screwed.
Yeah, that was. Is a generator running out of gas? That or because we're talking about horror movies?
You've summoned them, Trevor.
Flickering lights. They only ever mean 2 things.
Casey's just fucking with you.
Horror movies. Flickering lights. It's either electrical failure or demons.
There are way more monsters we could consider.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we have kind of run the gamut here. None of this matters. Thank you for joining us. Waste of time. All of these cards, total waste of time. Tomorrow, unboxing day 6. Beyond Brewing, as we said earlier, is on Sunday. It's just my thing on Monday. And is there Witchcraft next week?
There is Witchcraft next
Witchcraft next week on Wednesday. Witchcraft Wednesdays is the thing here. And then we'll see you next Friday for episode 21 of A Filthy Talk. Thanks for joining us. Stay filthy.